The current coronavirus situation has a lot of people working from home, and all of a sudden, the wildlife is back on the streets. China is clear of smog, and dolphins have returned to Venice. Well, not quite that picture was proven fake, but regardless, the canals of Venice are crystal clear. What I strongly believe is that the effects of a multitude of people working from home will significantly improve our lives, as well as allow us for a more sustainable future. This will save the Earth in the long run. Hi, my name is Nico and I am in Japan right now, as many of these benefits that I will be telling you about are already in place in this country. The secret herein lies in the way Japanese cities are designed and structured. So let's go!
Japanese cities, or Asian cities in general, are known for very dense city design. Many people believe this to be a bad thing, as walls are said to be made out of paper, and people are stuck living in small shoebox apartments. Such a horrible way of life, right? I'm here to tell you that this really couldn't be further from the truth. Well, it probably could, but trust me, it is very, very far from the truth. And this is because of one word: service. Walking out of your apartment, you're immediately confronted with thousands, yes, thousands of vending machines and convenience stores and restaurants and all other kinds of stores. The keyword here is walking. Everything is available within a walk's reach. But why are there so many stores and services so close by to your home in the first place? The high population density creates a situation where enough potential customers live in a walk's reach for a store to turn a profit. In other words, the stores will come to you. Yay! Capitalism! And the reason why customers are going to be... What?
So are you saying that you're gonna make us live in small, cramped shoebox apartments? Is that your goal? Is it?
Okay, Google. Please delete this idiot from my video.
Sure thing. Initiating deletion protocol.
And to answer that guy's question, no, I will not be making you live in cramped shoebox apartments, because there is something else that is taking up a significant amount of space. Okay, Google, please open Maps.
Sure thing. But do you want to hear a joke first?
No, Google, I don't want to.
Apple. Maps. Ha 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 ha.
Look at all those cars simply standing around parking. Cars on average are used for around 1.5 hours a day. This means that the space used for parking is wasted for 22.5 hours every day. And now that all of us are staying home, the space there is wasted for 24 hours a day. Hypothetical scenario. Let's snap away half the cars on the street, as people working from home don't seem to be needing them right now. Instead, buildings are expanded and more apartments are constructed on this now freed up space. Now more people are able to live on this same street simultaneously. So let's say this prompts a new supermarket chain. Let's call them work from home groceries, to decide that the amount of people in this neighborhood is now sufficient to put up a new location. And now Aunt Georgia and Uncle Tommy, who live on the other side of the street, are now getting rid of their cars too, as they were only using them for the groceries. They can just buy their Tic Tacs from WFH Groceries now. This frees up even more space for more apartments, more storefronts and kebab shops. Emphasis on the kebab shops. I love them. Keep them coming. This creates a self-sustaining cycle of improvement, of more and more people being closer together, more and more services concentrating on a single spot, and thus less and less people needing their cars and the roads in the first place. This will happen everywhere. And once we get rid of the parking and the cars, we might as well just get rid of our roads, or at least, reduce them in size. And all of this leads us to one thing. Welcome to Japan. Japan is a country where this principle of urban planning is already in place. Few people have cars, as you need to prove that you own a parking spot to actually be able to buy one. The public transport system is supreme, and overall, the cities in Japan are walkable. Keyword walkable. All your daily needs can be completed with a walk. You don't need a car. More people working from home could allow us to implement a smarter and more walkable city design. For the remainder of the video, I want to show you how this will bring significant and more sustainable improvements to your life. This will then help us to for once save the Earth.
I've made a video on the details of Japanese city design and architecture in the past, so go and subscribe to the channel and check this video out later. Let's continue with the numerous environmental benefits that will come from smarter city design.
The environmental benefits are obvious. I mean, cars aren't driving anymore, airplanes have been grounded, and cruise liners aren't cruising around, making my cruise around Japan video series obsolete. Great. Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that planes are gonna be flying once again, and people will continue getting drunk on cruises too, once this coronavirus situation has blown over. So reductions of emissions from travel isn't going to be a benefit of people working from home. The actual benefit comes from a reduction of traffic and stress on the public infrastructure, with a direct effect on your carbon footprint. Smart cities are all about reducing the need for your transportation. That includes public transportation too. Yes, public transportation is of course better than, using your own car, or using any car for that matter. But it is still best to avoid it as much as you can, especially during rush hour. A public transport system withholding the stress of rush hour is the ultimate exam of city planners. This is a make or break situation, and generally also entails investing additional resources that are wasted during off hours. This has a negative effect on the environment. People working from home or close to it could allow cities to not need to invest in this increased capacity for rush hour anymore. This will avoid capacity being wasted during off hours and will definitely be better for the environment too. It should theoretically also avoid costs, which should then result in savings being passed on to you, the consumer. More on financial benefits later though. First, we'll be talking about something that is oftentimes underestimated when talking about one's carbon footprint: heating. Heating buildings takes a significant amount of energy, so how do we reduce the amount of heating needed? Simple, by not having to need to heat two buildings, your home and your place of work. You might think that this doesn't matter though, as you turn off your heat when you leave your home and office respectively. You have to consider that heat isn't like a light switch that you can just turn on and off. Heat takes some time to build up once you turn on your heater, as well as it takes some time to cool down after you turn it off. This warm up and warm down phase is actually something that is a significant waste of energy, and these can be avoided if you just don't need to go to work and you just stay in the same building for the whole duration. So that is a significant reduction to your carbon footprint. And one more crazy smart city design option is superconductors. Yeah, fancy physics words. Quantum superconductors. Yeah, no, not quite, just superconductors. Superconductors are conductors that allow the transmission of electrical power without any loss of energy. That is what usually happens when you transmit electricity. But one caveat superconductors have is that they only operate at around minus 160 degrees Celsius, and thus they need constant cooling to be able to maintain their lossless transmission of energy. The city of Essen in Germany has switched to using superconducting power lines in 2014, as they deemed it to be more efficient to cool down the power lines instead of incurring the intrinsic heat losses. The more people live closer together, the more efficient it becomes to use these supercooled lines, and this is once again a benefit for the environment.
It is not just the environment that will benefit from an increased amount of livable space. There are also financial incentives. Well, let me explain to you how.
Companies are interested in one thing: money. The company that makes the most is able to invest the most. If employees working from home causes companies to make more money, or, well, at least cut down costs, then they're gonna start allowing it more. This is key to being able to continue working from home once the corona situation is over. I want to cover the financial incentives for both you and your companies that will come from you continuing to work from home. The first thing that can immediately be mentioned is the cost of transport between your home and your place of work. If I were to commute to work every day, riding the train would cost me approximately $6. That's $120 a month, and subsequently $1,400 a year. That's around the cost of my last Japan trip, and that was purely due to me going to work every day. people that take the car to work are gonna be paying even more in gas, maintenance and parking. How about something less direct? Using your home as an office could potentially allow you to use part of your rent as a tax write-off. But the real kicker, the new and improved city design could actually reduce rents, with tons of office space now freed up. These could be converted into apartments. Combining that with the increased space that we got from getting rid of all that parking, we could see rents in many of these bigger cities go down significantly. Every single store you visit usually rents the space. That is a cost that is then passed on to you when you buy a product. You spending less money will allow you to buy more stuff, and that spurs on business. And with more business going on, that means more people can get employed. More people employed means a lower tax burden, and this could prompt the government to either reduce the taxes you need to pay, or, well, at least be able to invest more into the infrastructure and its own people. Reducing rent costs could thus create a massive positive chain reaction.
As you can see, there are numerous financial benefits to both people and businesses. But of course, financial incentives are not everything. What is in it for you past the money? And I'm saying it is a much, much better quality of life. Let me show you how.
In theory, we should be seeing a lot of psychological benefits from a smarter city design. Commuting behavior has been studied worldwide. One particular research group based in London found many downsides emerging from longer commutes. These include a greater chance of depression, work-related stress, financial concerns, sleep deprivation, and obesity. Commutes hurt your mental well-being. You staying at home wouldn't just help you reduce yours, but also of those people who can't work from home, as the increased population density will probably allow them to live closer to the place of work. I recently watched some videos on the circadian rhythm, in other words, the internal clock of oneself. The theory is that not all people are at the most productive in the morning, but rather later in the evening. Working from home could decouple fixed work times for some jobs, meaning that people could instead choose to sleep in later, but also work until a later time. This may help some people improve their well-being and performance at work. I would also argue that getting rid of car parking space could allow us more greenery. This is something that Japan actually has an intrinsic advantage in.
As you can see, this park here that I'm in right now isn't a park. It is a shrine. And there are a lot of them around in Japan. Just a little bit of greenery around here isn't just good for religious reasons, but actually for the psychology of every single one of us. As you know, it gives us a good amount of variety to the otherwise existing concrete desert.
We said earlier that a higher population density will allow more services to be close to your home. And if they're close to your home, you will genuinely spend less time going to and from them. For example, gyms. You're probably gonna be more inclined to go to a gym if it's only a 5-minute walk away, rather than a 30-minute drive. And the time saved adds up really quickly. If you just save 10 minutes a day from a grocery trip, that's 5 hours every single month. You could spend that doing the things most important to you, like watch YouTube videos, or well, do an actual productive hobby, like making YouTube videos. Yeah, I strongly believe, no, I really saw that in action, that a more denser city design will allow us a much higher psychological well-being.
The many benefits that I've listed here so far have one common goal in mind, and that is a much more sustainable way of life.
One of the many issues currently plaguing developed nations is the desertation of the countryside. The current trend seems to be that people are leaving the countryside in pursuit of better opportunities in the cities. The issue with this, however, is that we rely on the countryside staying intact. That is a place our food gets produced after all, and farmers need to be able to live in societies as well, which should of course include hairdressers, supermarkets, drugstores, and entertainment options. If too many people leave the countryside, those communities will collapse, which will eventually hurt our food supply in the long run. I made a video featuring one of those struggling countryside towns called The Fate of Jakarta, which you can also go and check out later on this channel. One of the great things about working from home is that your employer probably won't care where your home is, as long as you have an interconnection that, well, supports you working. You could just work from home in the countryside. You don't need to move towards the opportunities now. The opportunities can just be beamed towards you through the power of the internet. The countryside may now instead be revitalized again. It might even be a better place for children to grow up in. And in general, working from home will probably allow you a much better family life. Working from home could act as a catalyst for flexible work hours, which are kind of needed when raising small children. So far I've mentioned many potential benefits of many people working from home, but you might be disagreeing with a couple of things I said here and there, and that is okay. In fact, I want to go into the risks and disadvantages of working from home myself now. I mean, if we really want to create change in the world, we have to look at all the upsides as well as the downsides, instead of wiping them under the table. Working from home for this prolonged amount of time seems to have taken a toll on many people. Productivity may have dropped, and since the start and end times of work don't seem to be as clear anymore, some people tend to work longer than before. And you might even feel guilt if you believe that you weren't productive enough, causing you to work even longer than you should have. Working from home exclusively doesn't seem to be the best thing for everyone around. And that is okay. I will definitely not be someone who makes you stay at home forever. Something that I've identified as a potential downside of working from home, apart from, the general problems with productivity, is the so-called mere exposure effect. Basically, the idea is that you like something or someone the more you see it. Celebrities, politicians, and influencers use this to stay relevant, but it also affects you and your immediate surroundings. We as humans tend to like others more if we see them more often. We get to hear their stories, motivations, and passions, which makes us care about them. This applies to your coworkers and superiors too. Yes, you will generally tend to like them more if you hang out with them more often. There is a reason Japanese companies are very keen on going out for drinks after work every night. So not going to work might put you at risk at becoming forgotten and isolated. At a point, you may stop being a human, but instead just a mere resource. In summary, we've covered how working from home could act as a catalyst to implement a smarter city design with plenty of advantages. These include a much greater amount of services close by to you, environmental benefits from less pollution, and financial incentives. Smarter cities could lead to rent prices dropping, with the savings being passed onto all the daily products that you purchase. The countryside could also be revitalized once more, and having a family could also become a much easier task. You will probably have more time on your hands to follow your passions, which should really amp up your psychological well-being to the max. But we also cannot forget about the potential risks involved, such as you becoming isolated from the company. Watching this video, you probably noticed that I really like working from home. It really allows me to save myself a ton of time and money, and oftentimes this time I'm able to use to make YouTube videos, for example. That doesn't mean I always want to work from home. There are many situations with co-workers where I deem it to be much better to talk to them in person, form connections. I strongly believe that a good mix of working from home and going to work is what will drive improvement, seeing as many of the benefits that I mentioned here are multiplicative. Even if we are just able to reduce our commutes by a little bit, it will already go a really long way. These are the things that will allow us a sustainable future, and thus this will save the Earth. Go and check out the two videos I mentioned in this video. My video on the Japanese city design and architecture, the video on the dying Japanese countryside that I made called The Fate of Sakata. And I wish you the best of luck for the remainder of this corona crisis. And my thoughts absolutely do go out to those most affected by the virus. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, subscribe and check out those videos. See you around.